So we've seen the teaser trailers, and we know that it's about alien abductee support crew, or alien, abductee. So what else can you tell us about, like, we've seen glimpses of an alien. Are we going to see, like, the interactions between the aliens and the humans?
Well, the core of the show is the group of people who all decided that they've been abducted and are kind of fixing problems in their lives with this idea that they can blame it all on aliens. And the irony of it is that as you get deeper into the show, you realize that yes, there are aliens, and that the aliens have been, screwing with these guys in many ways, but not everything. And they are going to be chasing the possibility of the aliens, and then doubting themselves, and then having to believe in it like it's a religious faith, and then, thinking that they're crazy, and all of the kind of problems that you might have with such a bizarre experience.
Naturally, yeah.
Definitely for the beginning. I mean, whether they're not going to find aliens in the foreseeable future, but the aliens are going to be finding them.
Correct.
And then, what's your character? Can you just tell us your character name?
Yeah, I play Gina Morrison, who's the person who runs the alien abduction survivor group. So
You're a full-blown believer?
I'm definitely a believer. I'm definitely a survivor, and I'm definitely not that good of a therapist. So it's sort of a combination of it's a pretty motley ragtag support group, because it's got to kind of fly under the radar, because people are not as open-minded as they should be about surviving this experience, right?
Yes, it's underfunded.
We're underfunded. Yeah, I mean, as many great and legitimate organizations are. So.
Exactly.
How many episodes are for the first season so far?
We're in the process of shooting. We obviously shot the pilot last year, and we're in the process now of shooting the second and third episodes. And we're in the heat. We've got 10 total. So
great.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm sure everyone has their opinions on this. From the acting standpoint, it's so concentrated, and there's some real advantages to that, because it feels the arc is very clear, the motivations are very clear. This really is a tidy kind of cable-oriented arc, which is nice. You don't have this kind of endless meandering, what's going to happen in the 19th episode this season feeling, that other half hours have, I think, in the new model.
Yeah, you'll be able to read every episode before we start shooting.
Right, exactly, which is pretty cool.
You guys won't.
I'm like, we will. No. That's just rude.
And I also feel like it tends to, with all due respect, like it has there's a sense of vision to it that you don't always get with a 22-episode series, where there's kind of a fefeeling like your writers are halfway through, you're like, oh, we're so tired, what are we going to think of? It doesn't have that vibe at all.
Do you know the size the season's going to be?
It's 10.
10.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
Now, does the show take on like a confessional type of format, like your past shows?
No, it's not a mockumentary.
It's a filmic piece.
Filmic, yes. What we were talking about, though, believing in the existence of aliens out there, at some point, and that if there is contact in between, like while we're in production, then maybe we could shift it and make it a mockumentary.
That'd be pretty cool. Play with the form, I like that.
Do you get to ad-lib lines? Because, you're generally just very funny. So.
Thank you so much. Greg...
But it's a scripted show, so...
It is definitely a scripted show with a really strong sense of genre and an interesting and new sense of genre, in my opinion, at least. I don't know if this is your intention, but it feels very much, not just because we're at Comic-Con, like a mashup between a sci-fi show and a Greg Daniels comedy, so it has a nice new form vibe to it. I feel like there's less of the set up, laugh, set up, laugh that I've had to experience from other shows I've worked on. I forgot what you asked. Oh, do we improv?
Yeah.
Wow, it's been a long. I've been talking about myself for a long, long time, and there's only so many things I can say. No, Greg is the master of found comedy, so for sure the script is very focused and strong. But we definitely improvised, and definitely. I'm not sure we successfully did it, but
we're trying even more in the future. We're going to try and shoot the group scenes a little bit more handheld and improv friendly than we did on the pilot. Actually, that's coming up.
I mean, you don't always have time when you're filming a show that you have to get out. And then you have
No, but they cast some really strong
so that's good.
improvisers. You know,
Yeah.
Brian Husky's an incredible improviser. And people with a lot of history in the form. Oscar Nunez, obviously from The Office, is on the show.
Yeah.
So there are. I think there's an incentive to let some people rip.
Right. So even in the pilot, there was some improv in this scene where one of the group scenes where Gina's leading the other people and talking to them, and then Ozzy is interviewing Richard Brian Husky and about presidential politics. That was
Right.
which president was a reptilian.
Right.
There was a bunch of improv there, and there was a lot of stuff with you and Chelsea that we Tracy Chimo's character that is on the edit room floor now, but only
Wonderful. Great. So it wasn't that good. So we improvised, but not well.
No, it's really good. I think it'll probably be saved for later. That's all.
Oh, that's delightful. Good. Good. As long as it makes it in somewhere. It's not wasted time.
How did you come up with the idea for the show?
Well, I didn't. David Jenkins did. He's behind us. He's playwright in New York, and he wrote the show on spec. And I just thought it was super fun and like a idea that can spread into many different sort of places emotionally. Like it can make you really interested and kind of laugh. And there's sort of touching moments between people, and it's got a nice sort of grounded feeling of these are real people, even though there's crazy things that's happening to them. At base, it's you could do the show without showing the aliens too, and it would be an interesting show about real people who are deluded in many ways that are good comic delusions.
Do you guys have plans for any particular guest stars or hopes for any guest stars?
We have such a huge cast that I hope we never have a guest star.
It's hard enough. It's hard enough working on all these great.
It's a giant ensemble. It's really fun, but it's a lot for 20 whatever minutes.
Yeah.
For I would imagine to write that.
Yeah, there's a ton of people to explore, and my feeling is that we do have a couple of roles that have been recently cast that are interesting people. I'm not sure when they want to let drop who they are, but the majority of emphasis in the beginning is just going to be exploring the ensemble that we already have.
Thank you.
Can you talk about some of those actors that you already have and the characters?
I don't know if I have authorization to do that.
So you can talk about the existing cast, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the existing cast? Yeah, sure. Well, you've just come from Toronto working with them.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us some of your
the
castmates?
ensemble is a really just fun seasoned group of comics. We have, like I said, Brian Husky, a really wonderful, hilarious actress, Tracy Chimo, who's on Orange is the New Black, and she's also a big theater actress in New York. Nancy Lanahan, who's been around in a million things, super funny.
Alice Wetterland.
And Divine Joy Randolph, all very funny comedians.
Luca Jones,
Oscar Nunez. It's a big group.
It's a big cast.
It's a really big, really fun.
Wait, we only have 6 others in the series regulars.
And Wyatt, of course, Senek is the linchpin.
So with such a
his
large
story.
cast, how do you give everyone enough stuff?
Well, this is hotly debated in the writing room. I think Wyatt is the way into the show, and I loved his comedy since we worked together on King of the Hill many years ago. And then we're trying to give really cool episodes that feature the different ensemble. Like our 4th episode is a big Gina story where in flashback you learn all about how she ended up in this small upstate town doing this, treating people who have these bizarre thoughts without a therapy license.
You gotta work. There's some workarounds,
Yeah, and then of course we didn't mention there's also the actors that play the aliens.
Of course.
One of them, Ken Hall, who's a Canadian improv star from Toronto who we found, who's hilarious.
Super funny, yeah.
And
Bjorn
Gustafsson, who you may have recognized from Spy, that movie, and he actually played the Dwight Schrute character on the Swedish version of The Office, which of course endeared me to him. And Drew, what's Drew's last name?
I don't know.
Kurt. Yeah.
I don't remember. We did it in September.
He's all under the reptilian stuff. And Michael Cassidy plays the,
Michael, of course. It's a huge
his
cast.
boss. Yeah, so there's really a ton of great performers.
Yeah,
And,
smart, funny people.
yeah, and so hopefully they'll all have the patience to be living in Toronto for their, couple of minutes of show in the beginning. Yeah.
Are you going to be flashing back the main ensemble, like throughout the year? Just each person gets their own little backstory that we get to see, or?
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure if we hit absolutely every single person in the 10
How
episodes.
could you in 10 episodes?
But but they all are going to have cool, stories about their experiences or their interactions with other group members. Or, like in Luca's case, he never was experienced.
He actually wasn't. Yeah, he was never abducted. He just wishes he was. So he's sort of he's aspirant. He's a student of abduction and a true believer. Maybe almost more than some of the people who were abducted.
Exactly. And then we get more into, for example, the character Richard, who everybody in the group is convinced that his wife was not abducted because they see her around town, and they're all just like, oh, poor Richard, she left him and he's invented this whole thing. But we have an upcoming episode where his wife plays a role as well, and we kind of get to the bottom of whether he's completely nuts or whether that actually happened to him.
Given that it's a shorter season, is this intended to be kind of drop in, or a full story beginning to end of season where you kind of want to watch them all sequentially and kind of binge it?
Well, I think it's primarily intended for binging because it's got an arc to it. But we're starting everything with previously on People of Earth, and the hope is that it isn't that hard to just jump in anytime you want. But David often talks about how TV is so often viewed, in big gulps, and so we want to make it easy for people to have something to follow and enjoy a whole season at a time.
Yeah, it does feel like it has an arc. I have to say it's really satisfying because, again, the way we're shooting is very condensed because we're on location, and so it's really fun to read episodes. We'll do two. We do table reads with 2 episodes. It's fun because it's just clearly an arced show. It's more than other shows I've worked on. It's not just like this week on. You're out.
Yeah, because with comedies they often tend to be more.
They do sort of
self-contained.
yeah, I mean there's situations which is great, and there's plenty of badness, but
and there's just also dramatic underpinning, which is that the aliens are going to invade at some point. And
so we're worried about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hopefully that's how you get your audience. Their own fears. You tap into their own fears.
All right.
Cool.
We were just discussing this morning that if contact is made with another alien civilization, like right when we air, is it going to be good for the show or bad?
It's important to really consider how everything could impact your show.
Right, exactly.
World events wise, it's very likely to happen, especially given that their leader is already here at the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, we were like, there's going to be a lot of interest in aliens, clearly, if they make contact right before we air.
Yeah.
So that's a positive.
That
but
makes
on the other
it
hand,
topical.
our depiction of them is probably going to be so off that it'll be like
We could be a
offensive
laughing
to people.
stock, yeah,
Exactly.
or just making fun of how far off we all were.
Yeah, and we don't want to give them the idea to invade in a hostile way either. That'd be a shame.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Looking forward to